Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michaela. Welcome. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about a few things I wish I knew before going to the design center. So if you're interested in buying a new construction house and you'll be heading to the design center soon, this video is for you. Let's just jump right into this list. Okay, so for the first thing that I wish I knew about going to the design center is the number of appointments you're supposed to get. Typically, a builder will give you 2 appointments. During the first appointment, that's when you meet your design consultant, they work with you on a budget, they try to understand your style and what you're going for in your house, and then you guys start looking at things. And then during the second appointment, that's when you start to finalize things, narrow things down. So if you go super crazy at the first design appointment and spend like 5 times your budget, the second appointment is where you like tighten it up and then choose your actual final finishings. For us, we only got 1 design appointment because we bought our house on like a Saturday, and then the following Wednesday was our design appointment, and they literally started building our house on Thursday. So we just didn't have enough time. I would have liked to have another appointment. Okay, so the second thing that I wish I knew about the design center is once you're at the design center and you start selecting options, I wish I knew upfront that we could have selected multiple options in each category. So for example, we started at floors, and at the time we were debating between the floors that we have now and one other option. And we sat there for like maybe 5-10 minutes trying to figure out like which one we would prefer. And our design consultant didn't necessarily say anything to us. She kind of just waited for us to choose. And then once we finally chose the floors, we moved on to countertops. We kind of did the same thing with countertops. We had like 3 options, but then we finally just made a decision on the spot. And then at the very end of the appointment, when we brought all of our choices to the table and we sat down and looked at all of our choices together, she was like, "Oh, you guys are so decisive. You guys picked one option of everything. Like, I can't believe how fast this went." And I was like, "What do you mean one option?" So she showed me the spreadsheet, and under flooring, it had option 1, 2, 3. Under countertops, it had option 1, 2, 3. So we could have selected more than one option at the beginning of the appointment, brought them all to the table, sat down and looked at them all, and then decided, made the decisions. And granted, I would not, if I had to do it again, I would not change any of the decisions that we made. I love all of the decisions that we picked, but it was just like, why didn't you just tell us these things versus us thinking that we had to make a decision at that moment before we move to the next section? So just be mindful that if you want to see multiple things at once, feel free to pick multiple things at once, and then at the very end of your appointment, you can start narrowing things down that way. The third thing that I wish I knew before going to the design center, or I guess while we were at the design center, is how much money were we spending while we were going through and picking out these choices. Our design consultant never asked us our budget, so she didn't really know how much we were willing to spend. And I'll get into a budget later on in the video, but she didn't really know how much we wanted to spend. And so when we were picking out, like I said, we started with floors and we chose the floor, and she kind of was like, "Okay, well, this floor is, I don't know, $100 per square feet or whatever." I'm like, "Okay, but like how much are we talking?" You know what I mean? And so she put that in her computer, in her spreadsheet. Then we moved to countertops, and the countertops were such and such price. And so I'm mentally like trying to calculate all the numbers, like, okay, I think we're like getting close to our budget, but I don't know. We ended up coming in under budget, which is kind of surprising just because like I don't really we really had no idea how much we were spending, like, at all. I mean, again, we probably could have asked, but I just didn't really know how the process went. Nobody like really explained it to us. So I thought that everything would be done at the very end where we find out, then we start making changes there. But since we came in under budget, it wasn't really a big deal, I guess. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask, like, "Hey, how much money have I spent?" during the appointment, because it's good to know. So the fourth thing that I wish I knew before going to the design center is that you can say no to things. So what I mean by that is there's a standard option, there's an upgrade option, but there's also a no option, and of course they didn't tell us that. So for example, the hardware on the cabinets. We could have said no to that and just said, hey, don't put any on, we'll get our own, we'll put them on later. We didn't know we could do that, so we ended up picking just the standard option because we didn't want to have to pay for an upgrade. The one thing that I definitely would have said no to was that kitchen faucet. It was just expensive for no reason. I feel like they knew people were gonna upgrade, so they made their prices really expensive. I would have said no to that, and I would have just went ahead and got my own faucet that I actually really liked. I mean, I like it, it's fine, whatever, but something that was a lot cheaper than what we paid for it. So there are things that you can say no to. There's some things that obviously you can't say no to because they have to do them ahead of time, like flooring or whatever, but there's things that you can definitely say no to. So just be mindful that you can say no and you don't have to pick a standard option if these things are not explained to you up front. Okay, so the fifth thing is talk to your lender before and after your design center appointment. The reason why I say talk to your lender before the design center appointment is because our lender gave us some advice, and she basically told us that people typically spend about 10% of their house's base price at the design center. So for example, if your house base price is $300,000, people typically spend around $30,000 on upgrades and designs at their house. We did not do that because that was a lot of money for us. And we were like, you know, we had already set a budget. We spent about 2% of our house's base price at the design center. I just say all of that to say you don't have to spend a lot to get good choices. Like, you can definitely find things, you know, around your budget, and I think also the design consultant will work with you, but don't go in there thinking that you have to spend $30,000 or $40,000 or whatever your base 10% of your base price is. That's just kind of ridiculous. I thought that was ridiculous. The reason why you want to speak to your lender after your design center appointment is because obviously the numbers are going to change. So if you do spend $30,000 at the design center, you do not have to pay $30,000 up front. What happens is that price gets added on to your final cost of your house, which can affect your mortgage payments. So that's why you want to talk to your lender after your appointment. So you tell them, hey, this is how much I spent. You know, how much will my house be at the end? They give you that final price, and then you can also ask for a breakdown of how much will the monthly payments be now that we've spent this amount of money on the designs. So that was really helpful for us to reach out to our lender so that way we can know the numbers up front and not be surprised about anything at the end. Okay, so the sixth thing that I wish I knew about going to the design center is that appliance upgrades and appliance add-ons will make the cost of your house go up. For our builder, we were not allowed to just like pay for those upgrades right then and there at the design center. Basically, whatever we chose, whether it was an upgraded refrigerator or a washer and dryer, that price got added on to the mortgage payments and to the final cost of our house. I don't know, but to me, I don't think that makes sense, because things that you can physically remove from a house easily, like a refrigerator or a washer and dryer, I just don't think that those things should make the price of a house go up. Granted, most people don't take that stuff with them when they move, but still, I was just like, this is dumb. We decided to just not, we just got all standard appliances for our kitchen, and then we did not get the washer and dryer with the builder. A lot of the times the builders charge more for their stuff. We noticed that we saw a washer and dryer that they were offering through the builder. We saw it at Lowe's, and it was like hundreds of dollars cheaper than what the builder was trying to sell it for. So just be mindful of what you pick in your house, and know that the final price of the house can go up, which means your mortgage payments can go up if you upgrade appliances or add appliances on, like the washer and dryer, for example, versus just getting them yourself. Okay, so for the seventh and final thing I wish I knew before going to the design center is that we had to pay 10% of whatever choices we selected at the design center that day up front. So at the very end of the appointment, she told us our final total, and we had to bring a checkbook, and we had to write out a check for 10% of that final total that we spent that day on upgrades. And granted, we did know this before going into the appointment because they sent us some paperwork like maybe 2 days before the design center appointment. However, if you do go and spend $30,000 or $40,000 at the design center, 10% is $3,000 or $4,000. So you just have to be prepared to pay that upfront during your appointment. So again, that's another reason to be mindful about how much you spend on upgrades and things like that. You know, going into it, you're probably told that all of your choices and your upgrades and the prices of all that stuff will be added on to your final total of your house and your mortgage payments, which is true, but they need 10% upfront. At least our builder did, and I think most builders do ask for 10% upfront. So again, just be mindful of that. So the last thing I want to leave you with is please make sure that you ask questions. Please make sure that you know exactly what you're getting in your house. Ask questions down to the floor plan, to the lighting, to the electrical sockets. Literally make sure that you get exactly what you want and make sure you're getting exactly what you paid for and you're understanding all of the things that are coming into your house. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.